Okay, so we've got here the shell of the building coming together, but then the parapet needs to be refined a bit more. And also I've got a complicated opening there coming in from street level. And both of those need to be done with options you have to manipulate the wall shape and also openings. And so it's a good chance to look at those, the two options you have really for that in Revit. So you can see here we've got this funny parapet at the top, which looks kind of nice with the connection there to the piers. And then down here we've got this door opening. So with the, so not west elevation, the east elevation, I can see that wall, and I'm going to just as a temporary measure import that elevation I was just showing you. So I normally wouldn't bring references like this, so like an image or a CAD file I wouldn't normally insert into an elevation or a section. I think it's just unnecessary. But for something like this parapet, I'll just bring it in temporarily and get rid of it later. So it's going to go insert image and then find that elevation, East Harrington Street elevation. Click to place it, and then you can see this view is cropped, so I just have to disable cropping so that I can stretch that, and I'll turn on, I'll set the view to wireframe, and then I can continue stretching just so that that lines up. Okay, so I think that's pretty good. And then I'll use the floor line to line up the bottom. Okay, so now I've got this wall here that needs to have this different shape at the top. So I'm just going to select it, and I'm actually lucky here because we have a part that projects up. You can see on either side. It's funny the way they've drawn this. I don't think that's entirely accurate, but I'm just using it for the heights mainly. So I'm going to measure that height. It's let's say it's 500 mil. So instead of just going ahead and stretching that, I'm going to type in top offset in properties and make that 500. And that part's pretty straightforward. You shouldn't have too much trouble with that, as long as you've done the wall the way I have, which is to have a separate wall there for that central bay. And if you haven't, just split your walls to make that separate to the other walls either side. Okay, so this is the part I really wanted to show you. If you haven't done a lot with this tool, then you should be, because it's one of the best tools in AutoCAD, or best options. When you select any wall, you have the option to edit profile. So with edit profile, you get a side view of the wall. So it's looking at the elevation shape of that wall. And now I can draw using the line tool, exactly, just tracing this. Now, I'd be tempted to trace the other side, but I want it to be symmetrical, and I'm not sure that the elevation is symmetrical. So I'm just going to trace one side, and then I'll draw using the mirror tool, just mirror to axis, and snap to the midpoint of my wall, so that I know it's symmetrical. And you can see it's a bit off there, but again, I think the drawing's off. So I'll leave it like that. And it's a really flexible tool. You're still just drawing in 2D. And it's going to translate all of this into the 3D finished wall shape. So One little tip that I can give you there is to make sure you know what are the original edges of your wall. So this here on the side is the original left-hand side, on the right is the original right-hand side, and then this line at the top is the original top edge of the wall. And they're all locked. So if you unlock them or delete them, then you lose the ability to edit them using the original wall. That makes sense? So when you drag the grip on the plan to move the end of your wall, that won't do anything if you've taken away the original edge in this profile. And the same with the top. If you try typing in a new height for the wall, it won't do anything if you've removed that line. So what I'm going to do here is just split, using split elements, split that line at the top, and then trim either side to what I've drawn. So I've really just added that part there. And I'll go to the 3D view so you can see it without all the other things getting in the way. So there it is. So you can make any shape wall you like.
And that makes it easier to
Yep. Yep. Tick to finish.
That's so good.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
With the mirror tool, is it the same as in CAD when you have to line it up, or does it, you just pick the middle point and it automatically?
Yeah. No, you've got to draw an axis. So yeah, you can snap to the middle point, and then just got to draw a point above or below.
Okay.
And yeah. Yep. So edit profile is a great option, but it's only useful where you need to cut all the way through a wall. So with the door opening you have on the ground floor, you only need to go part of the way through the wall, and so there's another way of doing that. I'll just show you that. So I'm just going to my floor plan so you can see here what we're trying to do. We've got actually an extra thick bit of wall there as well. So it's a good chance actually to show you what I did for the upper level wall, because I didn't put that in the recording. So remember I said I split the long wall there to get a separate middle chunk of that wall that I could give a different thickness to. And I'm going to do that now for the ground floor. Right, because we've got this extra thick wall here. And look, if you want to, you could put an extra wall there over the top. It's a bit messy to do it like that. So I think it's better and easier to split it, just using split element. I'm going to split here and there. There we go. And then I'll measure that distance. It is, let's say, 360. So I've got this wall here that I want to be another 360 deep. So edit type. Yeah, edit type. Duplicate. And it's going to be 510 plus 360, so 870. Oops. Okay, so I've just basically made that wall thicker in the middle. And to clean up the joins, we could always use join geometry to join them together. Oh, it doesn't want to join them. Doesn't matter, they're going to be black anyway, but should be able to remove those. That's okay, it's going to be black. So the wall in elevation you'll see, or the drawing in elevation shows the door there. It's a bit hard to see though, so I might go and have a look in our satellite view. So I've got sort of an Art Deco type door there. I know some people were putting double doors in there, but it looks like a single one. I suppose you can put whatever you like because you're going to be designing it.
Yeah.
But I don't. That's probably the best thing about that facade. The rest is a bit ordinary. Yeah, so I'll just get something similar to that, then you can always change it. Alright, so the size of that opening is, let's see, about 1500. So let's get a door, it's that size. That'll do. Okay, so just make that the right width. So this is the easy part. I'm sure you can all do this in your sleep. Now you've got to watch out with doors like this to see which side the jamb is set to go to. So there, it's going to go onto the wrong side, and that's again just down to the way that it's been made. And you can have a look and see if there's a property to adjust that. So maybe this frame offset external will do it. So here I'm going to make that, let's say, 700. There we go, and that's got it into the right place pretty much. So again, that's the first part, and then the part I wanted to show you is that now, using that opening as a starting point, we can put voids in to do the stepping. And this is a really useful option for any walls, particularly for interiors where you often need to have alcoves and recessed sections in the wall, but you don't want to go all the way through. So just a few tricks with that. So using model in place, and hopefully are you using model in place for your own design elements a lot? Yeah, so you're using this quite a bit, hopefully. And the category here doesn't really matter, but I'm going to use walls just to keep it together. So I'll call it void step, or stepping. Right, and then I'm going to draw a void extrusion with a rectangle, and I think I'll start on the outside so that it's going to be visible. So I'm starting with the biggest one. Make the depth, let's say 2400, just fairly arbitrary height, and then the east elevation should give me a view where we can see the height. Remember, this elevation is not projected properly, so I'm just using it to pick up the height, so I'm not worried about the left and the right. Okay, so this is the tricky part that you probably really need to know about. You can see there I've got a void that's orange, and that means it isn't cutting anything. So if I try to go finish model, it won't let me because the void isn't doing anything. So what you need to remember, if you want to cut something like a wall, you just need to use the cut tool. It's one of these tools you might have seen but probably not known when to use it. But this one here, cut. Now if I choose the void, then I can choose the wall, and it's cutting it away. So that's it. Now I can go back to my plan view. So then the other thing with voids, once you make the void cut something, then to select it you need to find what it's creating. So it's making this edge here. So just by moving onto that edge, then I can select my void. So now I can copy that void across for the next opening, and just stretch that back. It doesn't need. It can overlap the other one. And then in my, so you can see it there, and in my east elevation, just like before, I can stretch that down to the next line there. Back in the 3D view, clicking to one side, you can see again it's still not cutting my wall because it's orange. That's what it means when it's orange. But I'll go back and in plan just change the shape there so that it matches. And then again in 3D, cut. Choose the void, then the wall. There we go. Now, so we've got one, and actually, so it's shown stepping at right angles in plan. Here it actually is at a slight angle, but that might just be the tiles. If you want to get that angle though, you can easily just change the void to do that. But I'll leave it just with the straight at the moment. So I'll just finish model. And we could add another one if we need to later, but by bringing up the door, okay, edit type, and then change the height there to, let's say, 2700. Okay, go to a little bit higher, so 28. Okay, so there we go. So that's a bit of a complicated use of that option, but it's much simpler normally. If you just want to cut alcoves out of your wall, you can always use voids. And so those two options together, voids and wall profiles, let you do pretty much any shape wall you need.